I'll just jump back when you talked about ego. I tell people all the time that your ego will keep you broke. If you don't have it in check, it's going to keep you broke. And but the reason why I feel that way is because I see so many people not willing to submit to either a process or a leader or a mentor or a coach. And I just, maybe it was, it probably had a lot to do with the fact that I was young and 21 years old. I was like a piece of clay. And I remember telling my early mentors, like, look, I am a piece of clay. I'm young. I don't know anything about anything. Just mold me, teach me, coach me. I'm willing to roll up my sleeves. I'm willing to get dirty. I'm willing to do anything. As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'm willing to do it. Just tell me what I got to do and I'll freaking do it. And because I wanted financial independence so bad. I just wanted to win so bad. I played sports. I was a baseball player growing up all my life, and I was always competitive. I was always an athlete. I always had the drive and kind of the will to win, the will to be somebody. And I knew that just like people wanted to be somebody. And so I just submitted. And I think because of that submission, things came a lot easier for me. People started to kind of follow me more readily because, like you said, I was following my leader and I was doing the things they were asking me to do. So they were watching me be that perfect example of what it was supposed to look like. I was recruiting the most people. I was writing the most sales. I was building the most teams. And so my people saw it. So I started to duplicate it. And because of that duplication, that's how the things started kind of moving in the right directions. And so let's talk about building teams. I know you've built a lot of teams, whether it be building a company or a business or, whatever it is that you're doing. What are some of the things that you've done to build, like to actually get people to follow you and to build a successful team of people?
That's a good question. And in our last company, before we sold it, 60% of it was run with virtual assistants in Mexico. So we had to get very, very good at running teams remotely. And so a lot of processes and procedures. So the first thing is understanding the objective of whatever that team is doing. That's the first thing. Having clearly defined processes and procedures of what that person is doing. So, and it doesn't matter if this person is in an office next door to you or they're in another country. It doesn't matter. If that person does not have a clear expectation and an executional role of what they're going to do, how can you expect them to succeed, right? You're not giving them the map. You're not giving them the destination. So when we had our company, we combined a lot of my knowledge of being an airline pilot. Airline pilots typically are pretty safe because planes don't crash that often, right? So we follow the rules and we have procedures of how we do things. So if you think of what we do, I can jump on a flight deck with any pilot. The company I fly for has 12,000 pilots. I can jump on a flight deck with another pilot and I know what I'm doing. He knows what he's doing. We're very, very clear on our roles. It's not like, I'm going to do this today. Well, I'm going to do this. And no. We're very, very clear and defined in what we do, which is why planes don't crash. So if you take that model and you take that concept, we did this with our company, property management company, which is very, very process and procedure driven. And we always did three things. Number one, we ran everything with a flow chart. Everything had a flow chart. So the person understood what the position was to begin with, where it was going to end, and who was involved in the process so that they could visually see this, because everybody learns different ways. From that systems procedure, the next thing we would do is we would create a systems manual. In that systems manual and this is the same thing we do on the flight deck. In the systems manual is an expanded version, basically written out in detail what that means. So let's say I'll use property management as an example, where you say, accept new applicant. What does that mean? Exactly what does that mean? Well, when you go into the expanded version of the systems manual, that will tell you. Not only will it tell you, but there'll be screenshots showing you exactly what you should be looking at in the screens, and we'll do a video. And that'll be embedded in the manual to give you a video to walk you through the process. So when that's done, we created electronic checklists just like on the flight deck, the electronic checklists say onboard new or accept new applicant. When you check that off, you're saying, I know I did all the procedures that need to be done. The problem with a lot of people is you do checklists via rote. You go, okay, done, done, done. Okay, click, 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 checked. It's not how checklists work. That's not how they work in the flight deck. That's not how they work to be effective. So one of the things that we've learned as we grew our company using checklist automation, every time it changes hands, that's a chance for error. That's a chance for mistake. So when you're building, so I'm kind of going a long way around here, but when you're building a team, you give ownership and accountability to that task, to that person, and it should stay with that person until they're relieved of it and it never goes back to them. And then you KPI, key performance indicator, and you metric what they're doing. So in our company, we had thousands of metrics going on all the time. As leaders of the company, we looked at 5 to 7 because those 5 to 7 were derivatives and indicators of what the company was doing. We ran our company through KPIs and metrics, and it was very successful, just like a lot of other companies do. So I don't know if that answered your question, but you've got to give them clearly defined goals. You've got to give them the proper training, and then you've got to be able to clearly identify if they're doing the job correctly or not by KPI metrics, in my opinion, at least.
I love it. I mean, this is very, very similar to what, the reason why I've been financially free and have a lot of free time in my life is because of these things, Stephen. I mean, I built systems. I was a young punk kid. It was 1999 and just opened up my first office. And the first thing I did, and this was a long time ago, but I put everything on audio cassette tape so that I could hand these little tapes out to all my agents. And I said, learn the presentation. These are just, the second thing I did is I put together a systems manual, and I put all of the verbiage of the tapes, I put them in the manual so that way people could actually follow, follow along and learn through scripts. Because some people like to read, some people like to watch videos. Then when we're able to start recording, we just started recording everything and systematizing everything. Now everything's on YouTube. Now all our little, videos. And again, I just love how you defined it and you basically modeled it after, being an airline pilot, because to me, this is what I've been trying to get through to people for so many years. My life has had so much freedom because I don't have to sit down with every single person and spend all this time with every single person, because I could say, watch this video. If you want to know my presentation, watch this video. If you want to know how to recruit somebody, watch this video. If you want to know how to do an investment business, watch this video. Whatever it is, there's always a video, there's always a process, there's always a system for it. And it just made my life so much easier. And of course, now we have 48, 49 locations now, and everybody's independent. Nobody needs me anymore. Everybody does their own thing.
That's the goal, right? You want to work yourself out of a job.
That was the whole point. Yeah, I didn't, there was no point in me hanging out and having to teach these guys till I'm 80. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's been incredible. What you just said right now, I think is just absolutely
and real quick,
incredible.
One thing that we took it a step further, and I don't know if you've done something like this, is, as you're hiring more staff and you're doing, I was a big believer in script training, role playing. I mean, you want to be a professional, act like it. You want to say I'm a professional real estate agent. Then you know what? Then act like it and be a professional and train the way a professional athlete trains, right? So I was a big believer in scripting and role playing. And so what I would do is I would go to the teams, and we had 5 or 6 different teams in Mexico, in the US. And I would say, okay, give me 3 problems, each team, that you guys could not answer. 3 situations that whether it was the salespeople, whoever it was. And then I would say, what do you want the outcome to be? So they would tell me, and then I would make a video out of it. So then I made an academy, and I started making an education. So now I have an FAQ that we ended up putting up on Bradley's Lightspeed and all this stuff. But we ended up creating a whole academy for this, because it's like, I don't want to have to keep telling them, this is how you do it. Oh, that person's not here anymore. Shit, man, now I got to do this class again. It's like, okay, let me just figure out all the problems. There's only so many challenges, right? I mean, well, in one quarter, I think it was a quarter, I did 500 videos from different departments. And I was every week, man, they were just every department was giving me 3. So I was doing like 15 or 20, 30 a week. And I was just hammering through them. But then we had them all, organized. It was like maintenance, sales, leasing. They had all the answers now. So if a new hire came on and he was in the maintenance division, we're like, here's how you answer challenges. There you go. So that was another way that we streamlined our business.
Thank you for watching our short clips on Alonzo Academy. If you'd like to watch the next short clip, click here. If you'd like to watch the entire podcast, click here.